Hello guys, it's Zainali here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Guys, welcome to our spoiler review of Avengers Endgame. You might be wondering why we are wearing glasses. Carson is still wearing 3D glasses because he came 3D version of the movie of Avengers, and I'm wearing sunglasses because there's so much tears I have because of the ending that I can't show it to people. So that's why I'm appearing or we are appearing in that way. Just careful for the spoilers because we will be talking about specific things about the movie. So if you haven't watched the movie, please click away, but do like the video and subscribe. Just joking. Do whatever you like. So first of all, I'll start about the movie Avengers from Qasim by asking him, Qasim, what's your overall feeling about Avengers Endgame?
Emotionally speaking, it was probably the best. Like I said to you when we left the cinema, the first one and the last one I enjoyed thoroughly.
The first Avengers and the last.
First and the last. The first one.
With Loki and
Loki and Hulk and
the main Avengers.
The main Avengers, yeah, they were all there, and I watched that in 3D as well.
I think we watched it together, if I remember,
No.
in Cinnabon Wandsworth, London.
Maybe. Okay, but I actually watched it again after that in
Okay.
2D, and it was not the same. The 3D effect of it was amazing, especially the scene where they're in Manhattan and then Banner turns into Hulk and punches that, whatever that thing is. It looks like a big lizard, cockroach. That was a very emotional thing, and those type of things they were missing from the second one and the third one. The second one, he lifted the Earth up and all that.
I think
nonsense. It
you,
was
in
just
terms
so
of
much
Avengers,
going
Qasim rates the second Avenger movie the least of his favorite,
on. Yeah, you're probably the least. Yeah,
and
The
then third Avenger,
Third one will probably be third.
the Infinity War,
Third in the
Where-
ranking.
where Thanos, of course, snapped the finger. So in terms of let's talk about the movie bit by bit, starting as the movie starts. Of course, if the people who have seen the movie, the thing which we all wanted to see, that Thanos should be killed, they showed us in the first 15 minutes. Captain Marvel saves Iron Man and Nebula and brings them home, and then they just decide to go and kill Thanos. And but unfortunately, Thanos has already destroyed the Infinity Stones by that time. So they ask him where is the Infinity Stones. He says, I've destroyed them. And then Thor just chops his head off, and he says, I went for the head. After that, they show us 5 years later. Everybody is trying to move on, but Avengers are struggling. Iron Man has a daughter. Captain America and Black Widow are still in the Avengers facility thinking about how to move on. Hulk is somewhere else, who have become Professor Hulk now. And suddenly the twist comes with Ant-Man telling them about the quantum realm and where he was. And he first comes to Captain America. First, I think first he tries to find his family, which I think his only daughter is alive. And then he finds out that his wife is dead, and then he rushes. I mean, he tries to understand what happened. I think his daughter explains him what happened. Then he decides to go to Captain America. Then the movie is all about gathering all the Avengers back. After 5 years, they have split, and Thor is quite fat and lost the purpose because he couldn't bring half of the humanity back or half of the living creatures back. So apart from Captain America and Black Widow, everybody has gotten dispersed and trying to move on in their life, but mentally they are still have the frustration of killing Thanos before he would have snapped half of the humanity, wiped out. So then we of course gradually the movie then talks about gathering all the Avengers Hawkeye, Black Widow, Captain America, Hulk, Professor Hulk, who has turned into Professor Hulk, Thor. They all come together with the idea of time travel, where Iron Man resists a little bit first, but then I think he cracks um, the riddle of time travel, and then he helps them travel back in time to change, specifically before Thanos started looking for Infinity Stones. They go back in time, at the time of first Avenger movie, and try to get all the stones. This is the time when they collect all the stones, and after that, as soon as they come back, they give the opportunity to Hulk to snap the finger and restore half of the humanity. But unfortunately, Nebula, because the way she is built, or the way she is, Thanos finds out about the future and sends Nebula as a double agent, and she calls Thanos back into the current times where Hulk have just restored the half of their humanity
You mean
and living
forward?
creatures. Yeah, she brings Thanos forward
Yeah,
into the
forward.
time,
Yeah.
in the future, but by that time, because Hulk has already clicked the finger and restored half of the living creatures, Thanos immediately attacks them. I think by this time, of course, because they saw first they are struggling who's going to wear the gauntlet, and what's his name? Hulk says that he can bear the gamma radiation, so he would take the risk of that. So after that, when Thanos attacks the Avengers facility, then there's an amazing scene of Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man fighting with Thanos, and of course the very special moment where Captain America finally lifts Thor's hammer and fights with Thanos. That was a really cool scene. I thought on in that scene, Qasim, at that scene, I thought probably he might be able to somehow like defeat him in a way that he won't be able to get the gauntlet. But Thanos then decides that he did a mistake by letting half of the humanity live. He says that now, because of course Thanos is powerful than all the Avengers combined, he decides to then wipe all the universe and then create a new one with the Infinity Stones. But that's the intention this time. So, but by that time, because Hulk has already clicked the finger, Doctor Strange brings back all the dead Avengers and superheroes, including Spider-Man and all the people who turned into dust come back. So they are ready to fight properly with Thanos and his armies. So the fight goes on. Of course, that's a long scene. Very cool scenes in between Thor, Captain America, Iron Man. They all have their take in order to fight Thanos. But at the end of it, while they are fighting, I think for me, which is was the most important scene, where Captain America looks at Doctor Strange and says, "Is that the one in 14 million chances where we gonna finally defeat Thanos?" And Doctor Strange tells him, "If I tell you, then it won't happen." And then Iron Man says to him, "Then you should better be right." And then he continues fighting with the Thanos armies and stuff. But in the end, then Captain Marvel takes the gauntlet. She want to throw the gauntlet back into the quantum realm, which is in the van of Ant-Man, but Thanos destroys it before it happens. So if he again gets successful in wearing the gauntlet and is about to snap the finger again to wipe up the universe, but this time first Captain Thor tries to stop him, fails. Captain America tries to stop him, fails. Captain Marvel tries to stop him, fails. And then there's like a very slow shot where Iron Man looks at Tony Stark. He looks at Doctor Strange, and he just slowly points him that this is that one chance. That's the only chance where you can defeat Thanos. And he actually hints him that you have to sacrifice yourself in order to defeat Thanos, meaning that you have to suck all the Infinity Stones in your nanotech Iron Man suit, and then have to snap the fingers. And that's what he does. He goes to Thanos, he grabs his arm, but Thanos punches him a few times and then lets him off. But by that time, he tries to, and then he snap the finger, but he realizes that there are no Infinity Stones, and then they show that Iron Man is wearing all the Infinity Stones, and he says his famous dialogue because Thanos said just before that scene, he says that I'm inevitable, and then suddenly Iron Man, before he snapped the finger, he says I am Iron Man, and he snaps the finger, and then he wipes out Thanos, all his armies, and all the enemies. So that's the ending. But straight after that, because of the gamma radiations, Iron Man couldn't survive the effect of the Infinity Stones, and he dies. But that's a very emotional scene where Spider-Man, Pepper Potts, and War Machine, they come, and they just kind of just while he's taking his last breath, they just say, I think Pepper Potts says to him that now you can rest, we'll be okay. And then after that they show the funeral, and then the last twist at the end of it was, I mean, of course there's a twist with Thor going with the Guardians of the Galaxy, Valkyrie becoming the new leader of the Asgardians, and then in the end it was the twist of Captain America. The Captain America goes back in time to put the Infinity Stones at their specific timelines, but he doesn't come back as Captain America. He comes back as an old man.
Yeah.
And where they show that in the end he decided to stay in the time with I forgot the name, the lady he loved in Captain America movies, and then he come back as an old married man. So that was the end of Avengers. I forgot to mention one very important factor, because of course Iron Man died and Black Widow had to die as well to get the Soul Stone. That was another very emotional scene where Hawkeye and
I thought it would be a Hawkeye.
Yeah, because they fight to for the Soul Stone to die, but I think it's Black Widow in the end who succeeds, and Hawkeye then comes back with the Soul Stone. So first of all, there are still people talking about what will now happen with Black Widow character, because there's a movie coming. I think it might be a prequel before the Avengers, a Black Widow movie. And then people are also talking about that a lot of people were guessing that it would be Captain America who will die and snap the finger, and Iron Man might survive. But I think looking at the movie and Russo brothers, I think Robert Downey Jr. is the person who started all of he's the reason Marvel became so big after the first Iron Man. So I think they gave him a good farewell. Of course, they are aging as well. All these superheroes, and there's a 10 years of journey. Before Marvel's Phase 2, I think that was a good farewell, especially to Robert Downey Jr., who's been an amazing actor. My favorite character, Iron Man, in the movie, and that's why in the end I was just telling Qasim that I'm not satisfied with the ending, because I was hoping Robert Downey Jr. to be alive. But thinking about the whole story again, I think it now makes sense why they chose Robert Downey Jr. to be the one making the sacrifice. So, but there were still a lot of questions about the time jumps they did and the specific time they went back, what kind of rules they had. But overall, I would give 8 out of 10 to the movie, especially of the emotional ending and the slow build up with every character and their arc going back in time. Especially there was a scene of Iron Man meeting his dad. So there were many scenes in the movie. Usually superheroes movies are not emotional, it doesn't come with emotional attachments. Like they are very powerful and killing and all of that. But we had this 10-year long journey with all these Marvel characters and Avengers movies and their individual movies as well. So we got really close to them, and then seeing their arc and their personal storylines coming in the movie in an emotional way was quite touching, don't you think, Qasim?
Yeah, definitely. I didn't feel the same about the second and the third one. But the first one was emotional, but in a different way. It was more. There was a lot of humor in there, for sure. But that was more the comedy in that was the thing that made it emotional. But this is obviously the opposite end of things. This was very sad.
So Qasim, which of course, as I described earlier in the start of the podcast, that the reason I'm wearing the glasses is because tears. That was because of Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark dying in the movie. And for me, I think there are many scenes in the movie, many beautiful scenes, emotional scenes, very action scenes. But my favorite scene of the movie was where Doctor Strange points at Iron Man, saying that this is that one chance out of that 14 million chances where you can finally defeat Thanos. Otherwise, you won't be able to, no matter how many times you try. And then he slowly, very emotionally points at him. And I think in that moment, in that very small time, Iron Man, Tony Stark has to make the decision that he has to sacrifice himself. I think this is why probably Doctor Strange never told Iron Man before, and in the Infinity, in the last Avengers movie, this is why Doctor Strange gave him the stone and told him to spare Tony Stark's life, because he knew that Tony Stark would be the one finally to kill Thanos. And if he dies, if he would have turned to dust before that, then that one chance out of 14 million wouldn't have happened. So for me, the most incredible and important and emotional scene was that scene where Doctor
Yeah.
Strange points at him that this is that one chance and you have to sacrifice yourself. And he goes there, he gets the Infinity Stones and snap the figure and kill Thanos, and as a consequence dies himself because of the power of Infinity Stones and the reaction of it. So that was the most important scene for me. Whereas Qasim, what do you think your emotional is? It when Captain America gets the hammer? Which scene was your?
There were a lot of small ones, a lot of small scenes that were very good. I mean, it's hard to remember now because it was such a long movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess the ending was anything relating to the ending when they all came together. The portals opened up and all of those different armies came through to help them. That was a good one as well.
But Qasim, one particular scene, like I mentioned, in your opinion, where you felt that was an amazing scene or the best scene of the movie. Was it Black Widow? Was it Iron Man's death scene? Was it the killing of Thanos? Was it Captain Marvel destroying ship of Thanos? Or Captain America getting Thor? I mean, finally lifting the Thor's hammers. Of course, that's reference back to the comics.
Yeah, so that there's a lot. There's, like I said, there's quite a few smaller good scenes, but yeah, I guess it's the Iron Man one at the end.
The emotional scene of him dying. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the end, I think they show at Tony Stark's funeral all the superheroes. There's another scene where Tony Stark is recorded a message for everybody if he dies in all this time travel. That was emotional as well, and they show Tony Stark's daughter listening to that message, and then all the superheroes standing at the funeral of Tony Stark, and Nick Fury included. But there was a guy I saw, people are talking online about him. I think either he would be the Iron Lad in the Young Avengers, which is probably the next phase of Avengers. They will start Young Avengers next, or I think Iron Man's daughter will become will inherit all of this, and will probably, that's the next one. But there is no post credit scene in the movie, but there's only a audio stinger at the end, and I think that was from first Iron Man movie when Iron Man was making his first iron suit. So I think that's a hint that Iron Man might come back into the future, but a different character will play Iron Man or Iron Lad, might be, or Young Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a hint. But but the ending of all the Marvel Phase 1 was incredible. Me and Qasim both are Marvel fans, and we really enjoyed it. So I would give. I still have some opinions about the movie. The reason I'm not giving it 9 or 10. I gave the last one, the Infinity War, 9. I think that was but I think there was another very great movie. But I think Endgame was good, but I still felt like there were some parts of the movie where they could have done it a little bit differently. So I would give it 8.5, let's say. And Kasim, how much you would give review to
Yeah,
the Endgame?
probably just 8.
8. Okay, so guys, this is our podcast review. Hope you like it. And please leave your comments and your feedback. Because we saw the movie, we thought like this is one of the movies which is I think people will remember it for a very long time, because movies like that won't get made every year, and I think this movie deserved a review. Normally we don't do movie reviews and stuff. We normally do reaction videos. But guys, if you're listening to this review, thank you very much for listening, and hope you like it. Please leave your feedback and correct us in something you think that we mentioned wrongly about the movie, or your opinion about the movie, or what you thought that Captain America might have died instead of Tony Stark, if that's what you think. So until the very next time, hopefully tomorrow Game of Thrones episode 3 is coming, which is going to be really emotional as well. So if you're a Game of Thrones fans, please see our reaction video of that episode. Me and Kasim will try to upload that episode as soon as it comes out, hopefully. And until the next time, take care. Bye.